Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to TFTV, the second iteration this time around, for yet another week of ETF2L Season 36 in the penultimate week of Premiership. I am Cerny, joined by Beater on the production and my man Ire on the microphone. How's it going, bud?
It's going really well. I think this should be a really interesting game. A lot of playoffs implications, and just should be generally really close. I'm super excited to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things that both of these teams will try to achieve, with the season being very strange overall, but obviously both of these teams being very close in terms of tables and having a great shot within these last 2 weeks to actually get a chance at making playoffs as well. Both of these teams will obviously try to make the most of what they can tonight on, I believe it's Metalworks and Gully
Gully
Wash.
Wash.
Yeah. All right. Well, we
Yeah, I
have
mean,
the wonderful tables though, so we can look at
You, men-
those.
you mentioned playoffs, like playoffs potential for
Sure,
both teams.
sure.
I don't think anyone expected to say that about Virtus.bro going into the
Yeah,
season, but here we are.
It is quite something. I mean, most people probably expected them to sit more of like, at the bottom of the tables together with Gayjail, being, the team that came up from the div below. So it's quite impressive what they've managed to achieve thus far. And maybe also what other teams have underperformed, so to say. You'd expect them to perform better than they have, including nerdRage. But we can also look at numbers. We do have numbers that tell us a story about that. So let's take a look at those numbers, shall we?
And I mean, it's a 6-point difference right now between them and Faint in 4th place, so they would have to do a fair bit if they did want to make playoffs, but we do have some of those stats of the Beater has been grinding to get back on TFTV.
So yeah, we do have the players of Virtus here right now. Something that sticks out to me immediately, obviously, the Scouts doing pretty well on that team overall, in my humble opinion.
Lanzarton is definitely putting on a show.
From what I've watched from the team as well, they tend to be very, very well coordinated with their team. They clean up a lot of damage very well. So they're definitely a combo to look out for. Not something, obviously they're not as seasoned scouts, professionals that you'd expect, like, for instance, the people they're going up against. But they definitely put down a decent amount of work for their team. So it's definitely something to keep note of. And obviously also Cars as the medic, the newcomer here to Premiership of all that, having actually, I believe, played the most Premiership matches this entire season.
Well, yeah, because he was ringing for Faint.
Yeah, he was ringing a lot.
Bobby's PC nuked itself.
It's interesting. He's got a lot of games played, and his stats aren't actually dying because of it. So it's also, he's shown himself to be quite a competent medic.
Something else to see in here is Kuna being a little low, perhaps, on Demoman, like 260 DPM. Not bad, but not good either.
Compared to, at least, if you're going up against Alacor, that's obviously a rough comparison to make. But yeah, obviously we have the players of nerdRage here as well. Naturally, both of the scouts also rather standout players, but the entire roster not to be dismissed in this case. None of these players are necessarily solo carries to begin with. Let's say like that.
I mean, yeah, it feels like it's definitely a star-studded roster. You look at such names like Iha, Kunu, Alakor, as you mentioned. And actually, I've been really impressed with how Mulah's kind of slotted into the roster as a fairly new medic to Premiership. Has definitely, impressed me with how quickly he's kind of picked it up and adapted to this new situation.
I mean, teams were ringing to get him. Yeah, in the medic mid-season shuffle a couple of weeks ago, everybody was ringing for new medics, and there were like 3 or 4 teams looking to pick him up at once. So he's settled in for nerdRage ultimately, and it seems they've probably made a very correct choice here. So let's see how that goes for them. Obviously, yeah, you can't never talk about nerdRage without talking about Alacor as well. My man is a machine. He is known for being an absolute machine of a demo man, and these stats definitely show that. I mean, the only thing he's doing worse on is air shots, ironically.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know how the airshot stat sometimes works out, you know, certain props you can stand on and, you know, all this jazz. I guess on Demo Man it's like less because you don't really get like wall shots, but
yeah, true.
I would still
Unless
just an
stickies,
absolute beast.
like imagine if you have a sticky trap like up on a wall and a soldier jumps past it, would that count as an air shot?
I actually have no idea. I don't play Demo Man.
I suppose it could. That's actually something I never thought about. But yeah, obviously, you know, from the stats, naturally, Kuna is arguably the weaker one of the two Demomen here. But still, if you are in his shoes, if you're obviously going up against like a more monolithic Demoman like Elacor here, you know, what is your game plan? You know that you probably won't match up as well necessarily in a head-to-head, but maybe he can play around his team better. I don't know. I'm not the biggest brain individual when it comes to strategizing, but I feel like a lot of nerdRage's strategy does revolve around making the most out of Elacor and giving him the room that he needs to work. Kind of like how you know, the Lucas teams always worked, giving the demo a lot of space, letting him do whatever he wishes to, or just as much as he needs to. Who knows?
I mean, it's not like Kuna is bad by any means. It's not like getting like blown out of the water. It'll just come down to how their team plays. But we do have medic head-to-head once again. And again, these are two very new medics to Premiership, Kars and Mullah. So fairly even. Although it seems like Mullah has like never run crits. I don't know if that's what that would indicate.
I suppose, yeah. That if there's no number on there, that probably means he's never used it. So,
I mean, yeah, fairly even across the board.
Yeah. There's not much to glean overall. Cars tending to die a little bit more, but then again, that's not much to say. One
He's
extra
also played
death per map.
way more.
He's played more, exactly, so that does take into it a little bit more, and yeah, these are very evenly matched medics. Obviously, Cars haven't proven himself as a good player here, despite, you know, having the newcomer status, and Mullah being so highly sought after before settling in with his current team as well. These are both going to be trying to prove themselves, but it actually seems like we're getting started, so no more time to talk about players. It's time to talk about the game, as the players are actually wanting to play for once. That's incredible.
I hate doing that.
And it's unbelievable. Well, we'll see how this first match on Metalworks shall shake out as teams make their way to mid here. We'll have to see what they actually try to approach this mid with. Not much happening yet, obviously, as the teams wait to arrive. The DQC and Demo both going high immediately, just exchanging some rockets mid-air, and DQC is going to actually be the first person to die. The Mole going to be dying as well, so that's just an effective soldier trait there. nerdRage having so much ground on the mid here, just basically not allowing any Virtus players to take anything whatsoever, get nothing done. Tobbs is going to get juggled out and die of fall damage as well. And nerdRage is just rolling forward with this momentum off the back of that, just pressuring out all these Virtus players, not giving them any room whatsoever, keeping everybody contained and killing two more people with it. At least Cars manages to stay alive, but a very disastrous mid for the side of Virtus.
Yeah, consolation in the medics surviving, but one thing I actually really noticed in the mid is just Demul and Josh were able to get so far forward without being pressured at all. Like, Josh was on the crate, and then Demul just high-bombed into the house. They weren't even taking damage, they weren't fighting scouts, they were just uncontested on that mid.
It is interesting, when you do give, especially players like, you know, like the soldiers on nerdRage here, that much room, it can be very, very demolishing, so that did show, definitely. We'll have to see how nerdRage run to roll this into last year. They opt to send in the Mole, who gets juggled by a sentry and subsequently dies, accomplishing absolutely nothing.
And
Josh also gets trapped out by a sticky trap. That's not something you like to see when you want to push last year. And I mean, in an even Uber situation, obviously there's only so much you can do. But having to give up lobby now, nerdRage find themselves backed off a little bit, and Virtus looking to maybe make a move, potentially even Uber in. They lose Tobbs actually. Nice trap by Elacor, and that's going to be the brakes on that push attempt, whatever it might have been. We're going to be seeing a slight stalemate developing as both teams just stare at each other, not taking any risks.
I mean, yeah, Metalworks last is so hard to push, like, into or out of, that, like, even with getting those two plays, actually, we can see that Demul was on the sniper when we had to scout in the shutter for him, but So he's trying to break the stalemate, trying to do something. Lanzer will be counter-sniping him. No shots found just yet.
Yeah, they seem to be aware of him very quickly here, obviously. Not taking any risk with the sidelines, also missed trying to get that sentry gun up and running. Yeah, Virtus definitely opting for a long hold here. They don't want to give these nerdRage players any too much room if they don't have to. And it's really going to be on the Mole here to try and crack this open for his team. Find something. He did see Lanzer. He does win that duel. Catches him out. DQZ is going to try to come in to pick him up, but not going to manage to do that. So that is no sniper now for the side of Virtus. Obviously not a huge pick, but definitely allows nerdRage to have a little bit more room to work with. And also the Mole not having to worry about another sniper here. Might be able to get something done. Kuna very low, actually. Could just die to some chip damage. He's going to get arrowed up, though. And Lanzer's going to pick up Yeehaw, actually.
Yeah, Kuna got DQZ in the meantime as well, though. Demo Man actually nearly went down. Kuna dropped to like 7 HP, I think, from a sniper body shot. So that could have been very bad for the Sense, but he did live. Played it smart.
And yet again, we just have nerdRage players prodding, and Elikor prodding, peeking a little bit too much, getting caught out. That's going to be a huge pickup for Virtus here, allowing nerdRage to basically just not push at all. Moving them back, and now giving Lancer an opportunity to shut down the sideline here as well. Now, Virtus moving forward into lobby, taking a little bit of ground. Lancer looking to get an angle onto something. Unfortunately, not going to be able to beef the shot that he could have had there. And ultimately opting to push back into their own last, or much rather fall back, and not take any risks that they don't want to take. Again, I think it's, if you're in the hands of Virtus here, you just wanna wait for nerdRage to make a very big mistake, so you can actually have an opportunity. Just losing a single player, as you said, is hard to push off of on Metalworks, so...
Yeah. Even if it is the demo man, yeah. That was actually a really interesting sentry position, right there to like deny the shutter, but did get spammed out a little bit, moved back. Josh went down to Kuna? I didn't see quite how that happened, but...
That was some sticky traps. He had a trap on the wall near main here, and Josh just walked into it, so that's a nice one. But ultimately, again, you know, that one pick might allow Virtus to push forward here a little bit, take a little bit of a wider angle for Lanzer, you know, allow him to maybe try to take somebody's head off, but ultimately he's always going to really see as the Mole, and then he's got to still win that duel as well. And now that nerdRage is pushing forward again, immediately they're pressured out. Actually, Kuna's going to pick up Yeehaw as well. This man's sticky traps have been working well, but he's going to immediately fall to the Mole instead, so that's a trade worth having, in my opinion.
Yeah, Dumbo Man really handy just to lock up those doors on Metalworks last, so... But it's still gonna be a very difficult push, as he's basically already spawned, yeah, so... No opportunity found for nerdRage. DKZ did get shot in the head, but... You really question how much they can really do with it.
Yeah, the Mole seems to be hitting his stride slowly but surely. Another nice headshot onto Kuna there, basically forcing him out of the fight for a bit. Elikor's gonna get that dispenser, now the last push is wide open. Josh is gonna try to jump in, maybe... Oh, he actually forces out cars.
Oh my god.
Finally, something has happened. I cannot believe it. I am enthused. I am filled with adrenaline. That is an uber forced, and that means nerdRage might have a chance to push last year.
That's a very impressive bomb from Josh, because the medic was under the bridge on the point with a sentry gun next to him.
The fact that even worked is honestly miraculous.
Yeah, I mean, Josh just making the magic happen.
He is Irish, after all. The luck of the Irish, you could say.
Yeah, I mean... I was gonna make a comment about European geopolitics, but I realized that's probably a bad idea.
Oh well, we do have an Uber coming in from the side of nerdRage here. Top's gonna be trying to deny something, and he does deny Yeehaw, but a lot of frags are actually not falling in the favor of nerdRage. They lost 3 players during the Uber. They're also gonna lose Mullah, only left with Josh and Elikor, the latter of which is gonna get cleaned up, so that is a very disastrous push there. They lost a lot of players despite Ubering in. Good kiting by the players of Virtus to stay alive during it, and that's going to be enough for them to push out and retake their second point.
Yeah, I mean, this last is so hard to push. If you know your positioning, there's potential to just get absolutely mulched if you don't immediately find frags during the Uber, basically. And, like, that sentry was in the perfect spot. It was under bridge. You have to commit so much just to get the gun. You know, that's how it... Demo does manage to get the force out in the lobby. Just quick bomb in.
Very crucial there, absolutely. It's gonna allow nerdRage to actually stay in this, potentially even, well, not really contest. They are being pressured back a lot and lose Josh as well, so they're gonna be not doing that, but they will be able to hold on to their second and potentially use this massive Uber advantage they have now to try and recontest in just a few seconds. We'll have to see how they try to approach this, as Virtus are still spawning. We have DQZ sitting up on the vent, just having an overlook, waiting to find something to jump up on. And we'll have to see if nerdRage can take this point. They do pick up Lancer early. That's a nice little opening frag to have. DQZ's not gonna jump in.
Oh, he was onto the lights!
Oh my
what
lord!
What a rocket! That's a frag movie clip for certain. Beater, I know you're listening.
Oh lordy. Oh, okay, so he was just sitting up on those vents. I guess nobody on nerdRage decided to look up there. DQZ just jumps down directly into Mullah's face, drops the man dead, cold-handed.
Yeah, they met in midair. Just kind of had a kiss, basically, and then just...
Yeah. Lordy.
I mean, you can't really blame Mullah for not popping there, because we would expect that, but...
Exactly, you cannot anticipate something like that. But that is disastrous, though, for nerdRage. We'll have to see how they do that. Kuna just picks the Mull out of the air, it seems. That was a nice little shot by him. But they actually have a back cap going on. Both Yeehaw and Josh are behind here. Yeehaw on putting a lot of cap time onto the point there, and Josh also causing a lot of havoc, just dealing damage, pulling players back. It's going to be enough for nerdRage to recombine their forces onto mid here, so not a lost cause for them just yet, but Cars now having his Uber, obviously Mullah coming up on his own again as well. We could see an exchange unfolding, depending on how this, you know, turns out. Tobbs and Kuna both go down early, so that's actually looking very bad for Virtus. The Ubers are out. DQZ is just getting flashed finally, but prodded and peppered with damage here. Mist is just the only other player around. Lancer finally meeting up with his team again, but they're just gonna have to run away. They don't have any form of positioning, nor do they have the damage to withstand this nerdRage wall that is built just in front of them.
Yeah. I was really nervous there when Cars decided to stay in on that exchange. He did manage to get out, but it was so much of a worse exchange. He just dropped 2 players as soon as it started, basically. But it will just be a second whole classic Metalworks stalemate. As the thing with Metalworks is, like, you either push through this tiny little door or take a really long rotation through Valley. So like, you don't really like it either way.
It's gonna be rough. It looks to be that nerdRage opted for the tiny little door, and they lose Elikor in the Uber. That's not something you like to see. That's another bad Uber by nerdRage. Very much so. We've seen a lot of those, but the post-Uber fight, a lot of damage being dealt by both teams. Ultimately, the cleanup is there for Virtus, though, as they clean up 2 more players and do take mid off the back of it. There was a really interesting bomb attempt there by the nerdRage soldiers, but ultimately they couldn't deal enough to clean up all the damage.
Yeah, man, okay, no, just the Elikor going down in that exchange. It was actually very close in the end with the post-Uber fight. Really going the way of nerdRage in the end, but just that one extra pick will secure mid for Virtus.bro. As we're almost halfway through this game, and it has not been a rout for either team yet.
This is looking to be one of those games, huh? Oh boy. We'll have to see if either team can, maybe, you know, Virtus can actually try to convert around here. They seem to be a little bit more consistent with their pushes currently, at least, from what we've seen so far. So maybe they can, you know, continue that little bit of momentum, or maybe nerdRage can find their footing and put up a little bit of an counter-offensive. We'll have to see. Again, both teams sitting on an Uber obviously means that Ire team is looking for a little bit more of an opening, and with all of Virtus just backed out so far into Valley, maybe actually trying? No, okay, they do have Cars and Kuna still sitting in lobby. Maybe both soldiers come in.
Bomb in. Tops goes down really early, and then yeah, DQZ as well.
Nothing accomplished, unfortunately.
Alright, good position from Mullah. I mean, you're just kind of beating your head against the wall at that point. Like, if you don't do that, it's just going to stalemate. So it's gonna be the exchange actually happening over in Valley with that 2-player ad for nerdRage, but no frags found in the Uber. There's just seemingly going to be a bit of a reset. Lancer goes down actually after the exchange.
Yeah, that's going to be a little rough for the post-Uber fight here, as Kuna also gets spammed down. And the players are just flooding in. nerdRage Mist manages to hold his ground here, taking care of these players. Does die to Kunu, who ultimately gets taken down as well. So maybe Virtus are still in this fight, but it is looking very rough. If Cars can keep his soldiers alive here, they might have a chance to pressure back these nerdRage players. That is DQZ out of the fight though, and Tobbs is not looking healthy either, as he has now hit the respawn queue. So again, Cars managing to stay alive, managing to get out with his life, but ultimately they only delayed the inevitable, and now nerdRage finding themselves with a sizable advantage, considering Cars wasn't healing for a while as well.
Yeah, a valiant attempt though from Mist just to hold off those players for so long. Could have definitely been a lot worse had nerdRage just sort of steamrolled through.
The nerdRage bomb comes in again. They don't find anything though, and Josh goes down to the scouts immediately. So that is a player down. The Mole looking to take this one close as the Uber comes out of Cars. Mulan in no danger whatsoever. None of his players in any danger. And Elikor is actually going to pick up Lancer as well. DQC does kill the Mole on the sidelines, but ultimately this is looking a lot better for nerdRage. They have a full advantage to work with now, only lacking a single soldier.
Yeah, I mean, even though Josh did just sort of die on that bomb, he got so much space for his team, forced them all the way back into house, and the rest of the players were able to just sort of rush in, get that force, and Mulan was safe and sound over in house, so it's going to be the repush Valley. Elikor very deep, and you're already putting stickies on the door. They're not, DQZ dies, yeah, they're not going to have to pop to get the second.
That is, you love to see a free take like that, and they're actually going to immediately just roll it into last, pop the Uber off before Cars even gets a chance to get up on his own. He is pretty close, and if he manages to stay alive here, he could get his own up in time. However, there is nobody defending the point, so that is null and void. nerdRage finally, after half of our time has expired, we see a first round on the board.
It really speaks to how even these teams are right now, I think. Just, you know, only one run being traded, and it's just been mistakes coming out from both sides for sure. Just like saying like, oh, that could cost them, that could cost them, but it's finally just nerdRage being the first one to capitalize on that as we head into this second mid, Surny.
Let's see how things shake out this time around. If things go any differently for Virtus, if they do better, or if this is just the start of the momentum for nerdRage as they continue to roll forward. Again, deep bombs by both soldiers immediately, good positioning, and these Virtus players, again, just pressured back into Valley. Now finally taking some ground. Tobbs kissing the Mole in the sky, taking him down. Yeehaw also taken down. Things are shaking out well for Virtus here, with the nerdRage players immediately falling back through lower. Elikor caught out as well, so that's 3 players down. And nerdRage not taking that mid home tonight. However, they'll just be backing out to last. They won't be taking any risks, even just on second. And they're going to be giving that up to Virtus, as Virtus, well, try to roll forward.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a really well played bit from them, but also just a bit of a crumble for nerdRage. We'll see. This just last second stalemate, reversed though this time, as it will be actually Kunu instead of Demul on the sniper.
Maybe he can get a cheeky hit in here. However, now Virtus are aware, so the surprise factor is out of it. So he is going to have to catch somebody out before they can get to safety. Attempt there onto Kuna's life. That's not going to be it, though. And now he's... With every passing second, Kunu's usefulness in this situation is dwindling, especially as the Virtus players just rotate and go to angles where he can't really watch them from. Obviously, he is a dangerous sniper, but he can only do so much as he can actually hit people through clip rushes that aren't there.
Yeah, it's actually a little surprising not to see a gun for the side of nerdRage. It's just the sniper. So, because you know, even if you are confident, if you are a bit far forward in this lobby and you use a couple players, that gun can be really valuable in helping you hold off any sort of a push attempt for this bros. So it's a little questionable, but
it is weird. I suppose they're very confident in the fact that they have even Ubers. I suppose that's probably the reason why, and they're very confident in Kunu getting a pick here. I mean, they obviously do pick up Lancer with a little sticky trap, so that's gonna be a slight opening for them. And nerdRage, being the slightly more aggressive team overall, do definitely use that. You can see them take a lot more grounds here in lobby, but they lose the Mole on the side. Now Tops having free reign, just take that flank a little bit. Ultimately, though, nerdRage is just going to back off the back of that, and they're back to last with a player down as well. Kuna's going to opt to go heavy now, so they're ready for a push off the side of Virtus here. And actually have Lancer on the sniper now.
Yeah, I mean, it's still even Ubers, only just like one player being exchanged. You're not going to do anything off of that, so just Lancer coming up the pick class. See if he can click heads better than Kunu has.
Who has also opted to immediately go back to Sniper instead of playing the fat Russian man. Interesting choice. The mole going down again. DQZ actually having his number today, it seems. Just taking him out yet again. So another small opening here for Lancer to potentially get an angle on the far right side here. Nobody's watching it. Oh, he does body shot Yeehaw. Doesn't get the kill though.
I mean, that's the roamer life on these long last stalemates, you know? It's just, oh, you died, oh, you died. It's not much you can really do about it, but just trying to work these snipers and trying to get through the shutter peak. Unlike Virtus.bro in their last week, they are actually contesting it for nerdRage, so instead of just kind of sitting behind the wall. Could be risky, but Lands are not really capitalizing on anything thus far.
He does rotate over to the far side again, but this time the mole's there to meet him. And he's gonna catch him out, so that's the sniper threat taken care of from Virtus there. You're actually going up on the Pyro as well. Interesting.
Yeah, Pyro, this is not the most Pyro-friendly class, it's also not the worst. But you think like Pyro is something you run when you're not like uber disad, but
it's interesting. We'll have to see how maybe they've been strategizing. You know, they've like written up a strategy book for Metalworks of things we don't see very often, and maybe it's been working out for them. Who knows? Or maybe this is the first time ever that they've tried it. Maybe Yeehaw just had a stroke of genius. We'll have to see how this pans out for them. It looks to be that they won't be pushing with it, so they'll just have him back off and be used more defensively, which is again an interesting thing considering they don't even have a gun to protect him with, to have him protect. So,
yeah, because that is something you would see the Pyro do, is like blast stuff away from the gun to try and keep it up. So maybe just gonna try to, you know, pull a Highlander and stuff the Uber as much as he can, but it's a little questionable. I almost thought they were gonna go for like a product style, like using the Pyro to break the forward hold, but it doesn't really work like that on Metalworks. So
yeah, there's too many entrances that it's not like they're only holding one entrance. It's not like you can just push through there very easily. So yeah, I don't know what the strategy is, but Yeehaw's staying with it. He's sticking with the Pyro. Maybe he just wants to play something different for once. He's already like, there's a stalemate anyway. I might as well play something else, and if there does happen to be a push coming in, I'd argue a Pyro is slightly more useful than a Scout, depending on the situation, depending how close you can get him to the enemy combos. So I suppose it's not a terrible idea, but ultimately, nerdRage can afford to just run down the time. The ball is in, you know, Virtus' court here. They have to make a move. They're round down. As low as that advantage is, it is something that nerdRage could choose to play off, and maybe that's why they're playing extraordinarily passively.
yeah, the two Lancer actually get headshot, but with the buff won't go down. DQZ drops very low as well in the flank, so almost 2 picks for nerdRage. And you mentioned that as well. It is 9 minutes. And, oh, the pause.
That seems to be a pause.
Because we needed this last hold to go longer.
Exactly.
I mean, I think also we were kind of theory crafting. I found out why Kuna's air shots have been so much higher. He's running lock and load, and I think he's been doing that the whole time.
Right, of course. Yeah, that gun is kind of like a laser beam almost, so fair enough. I suppose that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of taken to it, but again, it's just, we've been in this last stalemate for a while. We saw it in the first round as well. Even if this Virtus.bro like managed to pick up this post, if this game goes 1-1, a golden cap waiting for either side would really throw the playoff standings like in the air, and actually wouldn't be ideal for either of them. Because Virtus.bro in 5th place right now, the closest one, but they're still 6 points short. So they would really like to have all 6 from this series.
Yeah.
They would take a golden cap win, obviously, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, like you don't want to leave any points on the table here whatsoever. You want to take as many as you can, and golden cap would obviously not be ideal for that. And if you're Virtus here, you might be starting to feel the pressure a little bit. Obviously, some people might say, 8 minutes is ample time to still get a round or two. But with the the pacing of this game, with how slow it's been so far, trying to accelerate it is going to require a lot of work in a very short amount of time to just try and get the pace up and running. And with how stalemate, especially these last souls have been, and with how confident nerdRage seemed to be with just staying back and just waiting for things to happen, it could very well be that this can go as far as a golden cap. That would suck.
Yeah, I mean, these teams have really just proven what I've been saying the whole time. Like every Metalworks game, this map has the potential to be so slow and boring. Like if teams want to make it that way, they definitely can. And you know, it's been stuff happening, but these stalemates have just been the majority of the game. And also, something worth mentioning is we do have like, obviously the timer's ticking down in the pause still, but I think it was like 5 minutes actually left on the round timer. So nerdRage will be perfectly fine with this getting reset to a mid fight.
Yeah, I mean, they lost the mid fight and just decided to bunker up on last the entire rest of the round. If they want to go as far as doing that, obviously that is an option, and obviously Virtus would not want that to happen. So at the latest, we would see something happen within the next 5 minutes. At least some kind of push. But we'll have to see. It appears to be Josh that maybe crashed out of the server. Interestingly enough. Well, we'll have to see. I can get that sorted sooner than later. These pauses, I've seen matches where they went on for 20 to 25 minutes. It's rough.
Yeah, you love to see it, I think, is the case. I know when I was casting a Div 1 game with one, like Steam updated and it crashed like every single person's game. Oh, Lord. So, I don't know if we saw something like that. There was a Steam update. So, potentially something a little crazy happening with that. But
in opportunities like these, when there's not much to say about the game, considering that both teams are just staring each other down for the past 15 minutes, I like to talk about cosmetics and who's got the stylishest loadout.
Oh, we're already gone there.
I mean, there's nothing else to banter about. I mean, what else are you going to talk about? Oh, the usefulness of the Pyro class. He can right-click when there's enemies nearby and push them back by 2 meters. That's...
I mean, I was watching OzFortress at 1 in the morning because I had nothing better to do, and Rocky got a Pyro 4K on Metalworks last, so, you know, maybe just hoping to replicate that.
Yeehaw felt inspired, is that what you're trying to tell me?
Maybe, you know, I mean, Yeehaw, I feel like he's inspired by a lot of things.
Potentially.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Is it, you know, because of the name? You think he's a cowboy at heart?
Yeah, definitely.
God damn. I mean...
Yeehaw, I know, actually has, he gives some very nice nerd essays. We had an article that I was working on that kind of died. Well, it's still in progress, but it has changed a lot about, like, the pro mod and the plugins being introduced, and, you know, if we want to see, like, medic speed removed. So he gave me a very nice nerd essay on that. So, very large brain on the man.
The real question is, was he for or against the pro mod?
I don't remember, this was like a month ago. I could pull it up.
I mean, it's looking like you've got some time, so... No, never mind. The game's actually resuming. There you go. Well, look at that. Players are actually continuing to move. We can finally see what is happening. Would you look at that? And Kunu gets a shot onto Lancer, so he wins that sniper duel.
Yeah, people hated that idea so much that Josh reconnected to the server.
He heard you talking smack, so they had that work out for them. But let's see what actually comes off this, you know? If it was actually Josh that crashed out of the server, this might have been a good push for Virtus to take here. And looks like they pick up Eloquer pretty early as well, but they popped extraordinarily early as well just to try to get through lobby. So, I don't know about that one. nerdRage definitely hang on to their Uber here, so...
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it as well, the Pyro used his superpower, he right-clicked on that Uber, at least all the 2 seconds of it that actually made its way through the shutter.
It worked out? Oh, what?
Yeah, worked out. Yeehaw's a genius.
Call me a doubter.
Off-classer of the season.
I'm no longer going to doubt the Pyro strat. It clearly seems to be working out well. nerdRage now finally making their way forward here into second. Top's going to be fighting with the Mole on the sideline, going to get cleaned up. DQZ also going down. No soldiers now, but 2 players dying to a sticky trap from Kuna there. Ooh, you don't want to see that if you're trying to push out. Elikor now just alone on the point with everybody else having backed off, looking if he could maybe do something there. Gonna get cleaned up by Lancer. And the players of Virtus now pushing forward with their Uber to respond with. This could just very well be a round conversion. I believe this is also the point at which Josh crashed out of the game. So, yep, that's them just profiting off of that. We're in the
actually,
tie.
I don't know if that was right when that happened, because Josh actually died bombing the point, so...
Right, fair enough.
Either way, it's 1-1 now. Virtus.bro tying it up. But will we see another round in this game? It's not looking so certain.
We do have 7 minutes. In a realistic sense, that is enough to convert 2 rounds. But obviously, it depends on how fast these teams look to play it. An Ire team obviously not wanting to get a golden cap here. We might see some more frantic, erratic play. Early, you see a lot of ground being taken by Virtus, but not dealing the damage they need. Top's going down low, having to back off as well. And just being exchanged. Mist is going to get taken down, so that's the first frag falling in favor of nerdRage. And the rest of Virtus just backing out immediately, almost losing Lancer as well. Getting out to second though, so it's going to be a mid taken by nerdRage, but not with flying colors. It's going to be holding on Virtus here. Just very nicely onto second with nerdRage opting to go through Valley immediately. And yep, okay, they lose players before the Uber is even popped, and then Mula pops the Uber onto a Soul Elikor who can't even kill the soldier that was harassing them.
Yeah, I mean, Demul just living his best life on Roamer, getting way up in the sky and then getting way down in the ground. As you do on those pushes, but it'll be Virtus.bro pushing through the valley with their full Uber ad, and it's the goal here for nerdRage is just to make them pop. But Josh not gonna find his mark on cars, full health. He's just giggling on point right now.
Having a good time, taking his team through alley, seeing if they can try to pull off what nerdRage couldn't. And obviously there's not a lot of early aggression by nerdRage, so they're gonna Uber into lobby immediately and actually potentially catch out Elikor here. My man is on 1 HP. Okay, they've finally taken him down. They also lose the Mole again, obviously, on the sideline. So that's 2 players down for nerdRage as they're trying to hold last here, and Virtus might just be taking this forward immediately, despite the Uber disad. Do see also just jumping in.
It doesn't matter. Mula just barely gonna come up on it. Yeah, but they forgot that. It's the cap. They couldn't stop the cap.
Yeah.
The food was too slow. He couldn't get onto the point.
Finally.
Second round of Virtus.bro. It's only 5 minutes.
I'm telling you, finally, the pace of the game has been picked up. They have understood that 7 minutes is more than enough time to play more than just a single round in. And Virtus are taking control of the game. 5 minutes left on the clock, obviously. Now nerdRage will want to at least try to not lose all the points in this map. And we'll have to try to equalize it and maybe even take more points. Soldiers going high and flying all over the place.
Ooh,
The Mole gonna pick up
with the wall shot.
That's a nice one. And DKZ's also gonna go down. The Mole gets taken down though. Ooh, yeah, Cars is a big pickup there for nerdRage. They're just gonna have to keep Mula alive, and he's getting threatened. Okay, the protection is there.
Kuna got him with the
Kuna
load.
Oh lordy, it's a disaster all around.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they lose everyone on that mid, but ultimately finding Mula is all they really care about, and they can easily stalemate this out for 4 minutes with even Ubers.
Absolutely.
And it's actually the crits Krieg up from Mula.
Oh.
But already at a 20% disad, it might even, because he wasn't healing, it might actually counteract the crits ad.
We'll have to see how that turns out. And that's an interesting choice here. I mean, obviously you're in crunch time, so it could be the X factor that can help you out. But yeah, nerdRage just have to make something happen here. They're chilling lobby, they're being aggressive, they're making sure that they don't give too much ground to Virtus, take down that sentry before it even gets built. So they're opting to just make as much use of this as they can, obviously building much quicker than Cars. And we'll see if Elikor is good with his sticks today. He hits one. There you go, that's a
Kuna,
one onto Kuna. Is there
he needs
not
Cars. Cars actually picks up the demo map.
Kills him, yeah, alright.
Medic frag.
And that's looking like an
so far kept. And Cars doesn't have Uber, he's 94. Oh, that could have been very bad. But it does just end up popping up on the point. I probably didn't have to pop there, but better safe than sorry when you're one round up. You know, you can't really criticize that. And it'll still be even Ubers with Mula only just spawning.
Also, Yeehaw is quite the pinch scout, quite the crunch scout. In situations like that, he pulls off miracles occasionally, so it is a respectable thing to do. Either way, obviously nerdRage
gamed on in that show.
Oh my lord. Yeah, nerdRage trying to make the most of this now. Where the time is ticking, they don't want to lose the map, as they lose both of their scouts simultaneously, as well as the mole. So now prepares down again. Not looking good for them.
Yeah, Lancer in this doing a good job as they'll just push onto mid, try to get as much ground between nerdRage and their last as possible. I think is the goal here.
Yeah, and it's working out well for them so far.
Yeah, I mean, 2 minutes, it's not impossible.
Absolutely doable.
But it's even Ubers, so, I mean, it would take a mistake from Virtus.bro as much as it would take a monumental play from nerdRage. But they will just try to push in this valley, see if they can find anything. It's a really early force, but the exchange is about even, but Kuno gets dropped in that, so...
They almost, with the early Uber, they almost caught out Kuna. He was on single-digit health there, but he just manages to live. And that was the factor that just...
Lancer.
Alright, yeah, no.
Uber fight.
The soldiers come in to clean up some of the scouts here, and some of the players, actually. For some reason I thought DQZ was a scout player. Pardon me, I would never want to put such a burden upon somebody.
That's a dire insult to train around. What a scout player.
Exactly. Well, it's looking actually pretty good for nerdRage now after just the back of that. And the Virtus players feeding a little. It looks to be that they're yet again finding themselves looking at Virtus's last with what looks to be probably their last opportunity to really make a play here. Both teams getting up on their Ubers. Obviously nerdRage wanting to use this as soon as possible, running in with Kuna. Just a level 2 sentry yet, so it's not a massive threat, but they're not finding anything.
Cars hasn't popped. It's disastrous.
They didn't even force Cars.
Yeah, no, that's gotta be GG. He's just gonna pop on the point as soon as 8 seconds comes.
They do lose 2 free players actually.
The gun's still up as well. And yeah, there's the Uber out on the point. It is only missed.
It's possible.
So, yeah, it's possible. I mean, Elicor, he's got to do the domo. I don't know if you saw that clip. He's got to pop on the point. Get on the point. Get on the point, nerd.
Get on the point. Come on, they're doing it.
Point to the game. They got it.
No way.
Oh my god, the crumble. No. Oh, it's painful.
Oh, I think Josh got a pickaxe kill in there as well.
Virtus.bro. Golden cap secured for nerdRage.
Oh, they're going straight away. They're going straight away. They're not taking they want to keep it rolling. They're taking that 5th round straight away. They're not giving us any time to breathe. Immediately into the golden cap. All right, let's see if they have the right config set up, because you know, that's always a thing.
Isn't it supposed to be time limit 15?
Probably, yeah. Well, I guess they don't really care. They don't expect us to take more than 15 minutes.
Well, some of those rounds took more than 15 minutes, so I don't know about that, Chief.
The pace is picked up, okay? I'm confident that we won't be sitting here for a while. Demole's gonna pick up tops early in this mid, though. You know, before even having to bomb in himself. So that's immediately a player down for Virtus, and nerdRage just continuing their aggression forward, pressuring everybody out, back through Valley and lower here. Josh actually far forward already, looking to find somebody, catch somebody out. He's gonna find DQZ before getting cleaned up himself. So that's at least a trade worth doing. Top's still respawning, so again, now they lose the mole. Kind of even now with Top's just now coming up, both teams having their Ubers. nerdRage opting to back off without the soldiers. So Virtus now. Yeah, they're moving forward.
Yeah. No, it's probably gonna be mid-second stalemate here. A classic. Actually, I said that they actually gave up house, which is very odd. Yeah, they Ubered in, but it's so much better for Mula. See if they can find anything in this chase. It's good for Virtus.bro. They didn't get all the way out. So, no players lost yet in this exchange. It's very odd. Lanzer goes down to the flank and Josh. So, it's actually going to be, yeah, they're buffing their way all the way through Valley to backdoor, so no one really here for Virtus.bro quite yet. DQZ the early warning system on that push.
The Mole trying to go deep there with that bomb, not meeting his target though. Cars finally getting taken down though.
Spotted at by Yeehaw.
Yeehaw just running around, picking up 2 frags of his own there. Kuna also taken down.
Very late.
Oh, Mist trying to just save a little bit of time for his team, maybe pick up a frag, obviously not happening, but that little bit of time save could be what his team needs here, with only DQZ and Lancer up.
Tops and Cars up now.
Tops respawning. This could be looking very rough.
Yeah, nerdRage not really pushing, only just getting to the lobby, so letting that one slide a bit.
They do have that
but it's still
big
a full
Uber ad, so yeah, they're probably just waiting on that. They immediately use it in as soon as their players are around, but they're not meeting anything. Obviously, Virtus player is very aware of that Uber, kiting it as long as possible. Cars top finally going down. Eloquor and Josh falling on the other side of nerdRage, though. DQZ going down. Now it's just an open free-for-all, really, at this point. Whoever can get on the point.
He's getting resub.
Oh,
it's
man.
only Lancer up after that spot. He's gonna have to pull something miraculous off. I don't think he's gonna do it.
That's going to be nerdRage taking the first map in a golden cap, leaving some points on the table, but at least they get some. Lordy.
Virtus.bro are kicking themselves for losing in 2 seconds left on the clock. The golden cap converted for nerdRage. That's tragic.
That is a tragic one. You hate to be on the receiving end of that. And that might just be the demotivator. You never know how they're going to take that headed into the second map, right? But obviously, those are just implications we can't know much about. What we do know stuff about, usually after these games, is logs, because there's numbers to look at. So, that's always a fun thing to look at.
Yeah, I mean, numbers are indeed in. And it's honestly like one player breaking 200 TPM and it's Demul.
It's surprising,
I think part
actually.
Part of that because of that long pause, but also because of like 15-minute stalemates on last.
Then it's surprising that the Mole, of all people, is the one to break 200 DPM, but because he also died the most out of any player in the server, so that is very interesting.
I mean, some of those like last stalemates just being the one to try and like get something, anything done on those pushes, but you know, I guess paying off in the logs. Cars not being found by Demul, only died twice.
That is a good showing. And that one kill, that one crucial kill on that one last hold they had. Also not to be discredited.
That medic DPM 140 to the 4 of Mullah. Cars actually carrying his team. Mullah obviously not doing poorly by any means. It only died 4 times, so.
But he did drop once.
Not poor by any means. Yeah, one of those was a drop.
It was quite the.
It was a fantastic
excusable
rocket.
One. Yeah.
We're not ragging on him by any means for that one, but you know.
Still, other than that, Medic's obviously very even here. Yeah. Almost equal Ubers and just heal stats. So both medics performing really, really well in this game. None, just utterly outperforming the other. Ultimately, it's not going to be them that drove this game home. I think it is how they played with their teams.
One thing, Eloquor getting healed a lot more than Kuna was. Mist actually taking the top heals from his demo man on that map, so that's a little interesting, but it just comes down to how your team plays, I guess. The scout class getting the beam is never really a bad decision.
Yeah, depending on how confident you are in your scout. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think much else really to talk about in these logs. Obviously, despite that, Lanzer and Mist not topping the tables, but not really lighting the world on fire either.
Yeah, they've been fragging. I mean, as I said at the very start, for some reason they're pretty good at cleaning up damage. So shows yet again they are fraggers.
Oh yeah, I know Mist had some really crucial kills in those pushes, so it definitely not underperforming by any means. One thing, DQZ really getting outperformed on that flank by Demul. obviously a seasoned soldier player, but you know, Demul just seemingly getting a lot more done with his lives and his bombs, and DQZ just kind of always being the one that like goes down on last push. Actually, we're gonna get straight into Gully Wash. They're already ready up. These
players are keen. They're keen. They want to play.
They're wanting to put that last map behind them, especially if you're Virtus.bro.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's the interesting thing here, right? nerdRage can obviously just try to roll that momentum forward that they've gained now in those last 2 rounds. Or, if you're Virtus, you want to try to stunt that and just completely turn the tables around here. We'll have to see how they try to approach it as the mid kicks off. Mullah instantly dead, by the way, so no heals for the side of nerdRage. Only missed down on the side of Virtus yet. However, more nerdRage players are collapsing, and that's everybody dead. So there's your turnaround by Virtus that I was talking about.
Yeah. Definitely putting that in there. And you know, the meta going down, like obviously like the wipe from nerdRage, it seems like, oh wow, they wiped, but if you lose your meta that early, there's really no point in you living and just trying to back onto cars. But position dwellies living. We got the Highlander players coming out. Kunu, Yeehaw, the engineer. I think,
that is a classic Gully Wash right here.
We'll probably see that gun moved a little more forward once it is level 3, I would imagine. Because
that push comes in immediately,
don't have time for that.
Yeah, won't have the time for that.
Not hitting the reflex to protect the gun.
That lock and load proving to be very useful here, as it just takes that sentry down very easily. However, the Uber fades, and not much has been accomplished beyond that. Josh, the only player to go down, and the players on Virtus side are now slowly but surely falling, with Yeehaw just dishing out the damage on that point as the heavy. Tobbs also taken down, trying to make a play for the point there, so it's just Lancer left alive. Not Lancer, Cars left alive.
Yeah. Yeah, only DQC and Cards escaping from that with their lives, but you know, I mean, it's a valiant attempt in the end, but just gonna be the last push repelled. With these off classes, it's really easy to hold off on the Gully Wash last, so I'm not too surprised to see that. DQZ is in a sneaky spot by the cactus above Big Door.
Nobody's
Roaming
seen
soldiers
him, but
say they know a spot.
Yep. The Uber does come in though, so he's not gonna be able to do much with it, unfortunately. He did air shot and Ubered the mole there, but ultimately that's only a number on the stats sheet at the end. So, yeah, not much coming out of that one. They do pick up Elicor and the mole though, so now also Yeehaw dying and the Uber up on cars. It's going to be looking like a very solid repush here by Virtus. Mullah basically just barely escaping into lobby. Lancha also picking up Josh, who was trying to make a play behind. And Virtus back in the driver's seat yet again.
Yeah, just that botch last mid push coming in for nerdRage, but we'll just again be last push off classes. Kuno on the heavy instead of the pyro this time. It's really early push, just straight in through main. Gun goes down, but they lose mist, so still all the players up for nerdRage. To say that Demul trades with DQZ there, but they're just not finding anything.
Yeah,
it's 3 down. They just have to leave. Lancer went down really late in that as well.
nerdRage really doing just a better job at kiting the Uber there, staying out of it and not giving these Virtus players anything to shoot at. And then we know there's only so much that your Uber can accomplish when there's nobody to shoot at. We'll see if nerdRage do a better job at that. They have their Uber up. They're going to be making their way through choke here. And actually they're going to opt to go drop down instead. My bad. It clearly did not anticipate such a play. DQZ bombing onto Mullah there, forcing him out early. So much for that Uber finding anything. That's off the table, and Kara's coming up on his own again. He was just hiding near a cactus again, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Oh my lord.
I mean, Archer them really just said it when it's, roaming soldiers say they know a spot. But Car's gonna be pushing again straight in through elbow. It's on the scout, but all of nerdRage is just out. Only Josh getting lost there, and no, that's an acceptable casualty. Cast him to the wolves.
You don't want him anymore. Now you're gonna pick up mist anyway, so it's not like it really matters in the grand scheme of things. And Tobbs, lordy. They're just going, they're picking them all.
That's a feed, just trying to get something done with that Uber, not settling for the midpoint. Really gonna cost Virtus.bro here, then back all the way out. Did find Demul.
I saw that was kind of funny. The mole came down from a little jump, like he was on top of the point, and he jumped down, and he just got killed by the splash before he hit the ground. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, that's gonna be the mole out for this Uber push potentially coming in. We'll see. Obviously, nerdRage wanting to take this one for free, potentially get as much ground as they can, but Virtus just positioned.
Yeah, the soldiers for Virtus.bro in kind of a weird position, getting caught between the big door aggression and like choke. So not a great place to be. Just gonna be DQZ trying to find something above choke, not finding it at all. And actually the pop out from cars, it's the exchange. It should be about even, but now Flash coming in for cars will make this a little better for Mullah. But no friends found despite
so
that.
Messy. It's so messy. Nothing's finally players are dying.
Pick up mist. He's in lobby right now. Cars is in the middle of nowhere.
All right. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Crumble. It was just so much tension, and then it just blew up. And Virtus.bro, they're all dead. Only DQZ up. Last push cap. What an underwhelming way to win a round.
Yeah, it was just kind of a messy exchange, and then nothing happened for a solid 15 seconds, and then finally, they
golden cap config is still on.
They're still using the golden cap config.
Oh,
so.
God. Well, if it makes you feel any better, by having STV enabled, they're already having better configs than NA players.
Hey, at least that's something. Well, maybe that round was just the warm-up. Who knows?
That was the golden cap, they just decided to play it.
It doesn't actually count, it's just the warm-up round, they were just getting ready.
Yeah.
Qualifying.
I think they were playing DM.
Exactly. Well, let's continue.
Alright. You know, it's a classic halftime. You guys have those in a year, right?
Yeah, totally. It's 7 minutes into a 30-minute map, especially, yeah.
Yeah, and they did manage to set the time limit correctly to count for that round, so no harm, no foul, I suppose. Skinbeater just gonna have to hit some combined logs, I guess. You know, more work for him.
As we headed off, Kuna goes down very early, but both soldiers of nerdRage responded with immediately tops also getting taken down there. So now Yeehaw behind, actually on the enemy combo here, fighting Mist and Cars. He's not dying yet.
He's slippery. He's slipping, sliding. Finally gets put down by Mist. All right, we'll pretend we didn't see that, Mist.
Took you long enough. With,
I mean, no foul. Cars did keep his life, so
yeah. Ultimately, it's not like it was disastrous.
If Cars died, then it would be. But DQC
actually,
I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. He was like on the little clip above. Oh, Cars went down to trap.
He dropped to a trap.
Oh, okay. All right. That was good.
I think it was a cone trap. I think it was a cone one. It was hidden in a cone.
Oh, the cone trap is the strat.
Yeah, they didn't anticipate that one.
Dropped down a little too early from his hiding spot. Just gonna get onto a scout. And yeah, that's Virtus.bro out to their second. Probably gonna have to hold last here. They're just gonna try to get the force out, and they will do that. But Cars, little too far forward in lobby,
gets caught out. Oh lordy, this is not looking good.
Trying to find the skill stick on Takuna.
Not gonna happen. However, they still have a significantly better situation where Lancer basically stuck behind as well, and they're well aware of him being there. So nerdRage are not going to be taking any risks here. Elocore just sticking up lobby, making sure nobody slips through the seams, and Lancer is going to get cleaned up.
Lancer was in their big door fighting a soldier. Dimmel's going to hit him with the taunt.
Absolute BM. You love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, not much to really happen now. Mullah's just waiting on that Uber for the about 40% ad push. No gun, surprisingly. No gun, no pyro, no heavy.
Early Uber.
For Virtus.bro. And yeah, Top's managed to get in onto the medic there, so
it's gonna be an interesting
actually
one.
In water. 2 players in water, and there's no sticks on the point.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Yeah, okay. That's the last push. That happened.
So they just all went around.
What?
They killed 3 Virtus. I was trying to follow that, right? They killed 3 Virtus players, like, past the Uber, like, just as it faded. And then they sent everybody else around water. And, by the time that they were on the point, Kuna was already dead. So they couldn't really be any stickies. So ultimately, just a very interesting last push. Yeah,
that's what Eric would call a cringe push.
Ooh.
Tubbs He's on to Moolah. Okay, yeah, DQZ coming in with the redemption. Gonna actually clean up the frag. Was the only one to hit rockets on the combo. So they do find Moolah, but Cars and Lancer just gonna have to hightail it out. But they do live.
Oh no!
For now,
Lancer!
the Mool. Oh, why are you in river? Oh, okay, Lancer.
Lancer,
okay,
you gotta save your medic here.
Lancer, okay, okay, Cars. Maybe just pull out your Uber saw at that point. I've lost all faith.
He's got balls, dude. I was already surprised when I saw them just chilling up in river for God knows what reason, but it seems to work out for them as they now have their Uber running in, catching out Elicor there. Nice shot by Tobbs onto him, so very, just very solid somehow play by Virtus there, and they're gonna be taking it forward.
I don't know if solid was the right word to describe that, but it was something.
It was something. Yep, they're just gonna keep
they're actually gonna try to get all the way into the last, but Tobbs losing the
early
fight to
Uber there.
Mool. Yeah, they've got their Uber ads. The center's still alive. They haven't cleaned it up. Finally gets spammed out by DQZ, but Mist goes down on that push as well. There's no sticking on the point because Elicor is dead, but it's just so awkward. The Pyro blessing everyone back. Yeehaw has a massive noggin.
He knows how to make that Pyro work. He really does.
Yeah, and it's just another botched push for Virtus.bro.
And not really getting their footing here in Gully Wash so far at all. Losing Tops again there to Elicor. It seems like nerdRage just looking a lot more dominant on this map. Just laying down pain on Virtus. Just catching them out every single time.
He's in his spot. He's playing Cactus Canyon. That's his favorite map. Elicor goes down to it.
He gets Elicor at least.
Yeah. I mean, how far before they start pre-firing that at this point? But it is 2 for 2, and an exchange happening in choke. Very slightly better for Cars, but I don't think it's gonna matter in the end.
Probably not. No, it's just
Demoman went down very low on Kuna, like 10 HP, so
keeping him alive.
Disastrous, but it's mid-way of nerdRage off of that. Josh is on
somehow. Josh is indeed
not
on
left
the spike
spawn
bus.
yet. No, I think he's just checking. He's
just
gonna be
making
boring
sure,
like that.
He's just making sure that there's nothing fancy, cheeky going on here. Fair enough. I would have been quite happy to see a Josh spike. My lord. I looked away for a second and I see two players go to red HP in the corner of my eye, and I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I was busy just having my eyes peeled on that forward door to see if Josh would leave, but yeah, Tubbs just distracting me, I guess.
Getting a decent bomb in there, unfortunately. Not finding anything though, and we have
Tubbs and DQZ getting another 2 frags. Yeehaw and Mool.
That's a crucial one.
Really poor situation for nerdRage.
Gonna be,
they're gonna be just not dying. Kuna goes down to Elicor, and the exchange is gonna come up. Well, I say exchange,
it's not exchange. It's just a single Uber. Yeah, Cars is nowhere near in any form of danger whatsoever. There just isn't enough material that nerdRage can throw at them here yet, and Cars is actually just gonna keep going forward.
Alone in Big Door. That can't go wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, you know, he's met up with his scout. He has used an Uber, putting it onto both of his Bostonians. And they're gonna also clean up Moolah, so it's looking like a very decent Uber here for them.
Cars. He fights the arrow.
Cars is unlocked.
Yeah.
I think something unlocked in him.
Yeah, I think Cars, what he made the decision there is just to not beam Lancer and kill the scout himself. He's in almost alone on last. There we go. It's just the team did get there a little later than him, and yeah, just taking advantage of that full wipe to cap out last. A nerd, around the way of Virtus.bro, but there's still one down.
What an interesting back and forth we're seeing here.
It was just the most like weird round I've seen.
I don't know what is going on anymore. Anyway, we're headed into a 4th round. Let's see if Virtus can continue a little bit of momentum here, turn this game around again, or if nerdRage can continue that little bit of dominance they had early on. They do pick up Lancer very, very early. Also, Mist going down, no scouts. Also, Tobbs going down, and DQZ. Everybody is essentially dead as Kuna and Cars run for their lives and are probably met with, yep, that's you know, just the scouts killing them both, so...
Yep, Kunu Yiha clicked on gamers very effectively in that push.
That's a classic one, and you lost your medic as very, very late there, so... Unfortunate.
Yeah, let's remove Scout class, I think.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. You know, just remove it. We don't like people from Boston. It is the last holdout, and cars did go down in that, so massive Uber out from Mula. Gun from Lanzer, where is that?
It is on the...
I can't see. That's on the right side, in the little corner. Right, so honestly, what I really like to see on this last is build the gun up on the left-hand ledge, and then just put a pyro with it. The gun gets spammed down almost before the Ur even comes out, but it's nothing else found really with that. DQZ goes down, but there's not a lot of frags being found, and it's 3 down. Mulakuno Elikur, only Kuna being found, and oh Yeehaw, watch Yeehaw. He's in water, but yeah, no, they're aware. They're gonna check. This isn't open.
Yeah, they sent players down there. Come on, that's you gotta expect something like that. Unfortunately, obviously, that's not gonna work out for Yeehaw. So a botched push by the players of nerdRage, but we do have Kunu spawning on the sniper, and he's gonna be holding down that big door angle from choke here. So interesting little switch up there, especially considering all of Virtus has opted to go their choke instead. So he's gonna be looking at that. Ow! Oh! Yes. Speaking of a good play, sounds. Oh lord.
Yeah. Yeah. Virtus.bro getting a little destroyed on that bush.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. I'm gonna just chalk that one up almost entirely to Kunu and the mole there. Kunu got nice little headshot onto cars, just taking that Uber out of the equation as soon as possible. And they're gonna be keeping it rolling forward now. nerdRage taking that second for free, almost up on their own Uber on lobby here now, seeing what they can do. And Kunu still up on the sniper as well, seeing if he can maybe get a cheeky angle from main. Now rotating, or not actually, no, he's deciding to still see if he can get something off here. Obviously they're still aware, they do send in a little soldier by the name of Tobbs, but he doesn't manage to do anything, and that's going to be enough of the Uber also coming in, taking down the sentry, but nothing else yet, not finding any players just yet. Lancer finally going down, but Kuna's going to find Mula, and the Mole and Josh also go down on the site, so it's actually looking very bad for nerdRage yet again.
You say that, but it's only really DQC and Kuna. Tops only just spawned. Oh, that very close in the end, but is gonna be Virtus.bro holding on to their last for dear life.
Just barely.
Yeehaw jumped around the corner and put cars into a wall, and I was really nervous after that they were just gonna crumble, but good hold in the end from Kuna as this goes down in the end. It could be something being worked here in Big Door, but nerdRage not really looking like they're gonna opt for it.
No, especially not after losing Josh like that. That's not gonna happen.
So weak as well. Yeah, no, cancel the push.
That's not going to happen. With the Ubers equal as well, you don't necessarily want to take any silly risks here, so they're going to be opting to hold mid instead, and obviously now Virtus gonna be trying to put another round on the board here. They do want to go at least equalize it, if not take back the lead. And that's not gonna be a nice way to lose your Uber that early, getting forced in and dropping a scout as well. Mula having no reason to pop at all. They're just gonna clean up these players trying to escape. Mist is down. Dobbs is gonna jump above choke and see if he can catch somebody out together with his bud DQZ. They're gonna force up the med, but it might just be enough to keep them in it for a bit. Who knows?
Tobbs go down. They do have some spawns coming in, so it's not completely lost, but second only just now being capped, and that's really a saving grace for them. They weren't able to pressure that last cap immediately. Josh is in there, but does get cleaned up by the heavy and scout, and Yeehaw manages to find cars in the chaos, but the rest of his team not doing quite as well, but they did just well enough, I suppose.
Yeah, just a little bit of damage progressively being dealt there, with cars being dead, no heals being, dished out anymore. It's the war of attrition, and obviously nerdRage wins it in the end, so they go up another point. And with 10 minutes left in the round here, it might be looking a little rough for Virtus.
Yeah, they had a really good momentum coming in at first, but it just seems like they were so sloppy. Kuna, nice pipe onto the Mool, but
getting taken down by Josh himself.
And
yeah,
so it's demo and slow down for either side. Could still go either way. Mist manages to find Yeehaw just barely. Cars in a little bit of trouble. Does manage to get around, and yeah, it's just gonna be Kuna escaping with Mulan. So first mid the way of Virtus.bro if they needed it to go their way, and they did manage it.
Let's see them actually take it to a last cap. Who knows, for once it could definitely help them, and they definitely need it. With nerdRage already getting out of lobby, flooding out again. Kunu is going to pick up DQZ. So that's a soldier down there for Virtus, and the nerdRage are just taking all the space here, denying the cap as well as best as they can. You're just dancing on the point down there, delaying it for as long as possible, and it's still nobody's backing off because both teams have their Ubers here. They don't want to necessarily use them, but they also don't want to just give up a point for free. And okay, I was about to say the point might actually just exchange hands here before either Uber has been popped. All right, there it is. There goes Mullah.
Yeah, that's...
He's dropped.
I mean, it was a really nice pipe from Kuna, to be fair.
Yeah.
Running that lock and load, really just paying off, but we do... It's not really much being found. Josh? This is really odd. So Josh and Yeehaw are still in, and... Oh, okay, they did find Mist and Tops, but... Guess that eventually, they won't find cars. So that's really what they were after. Yeehaw is actually still in. I didn't even notice him behind the rock trying to be sneaky, but Kuna, again, just with that laser beam pipes of the lock and load.
There's definitely a reason why he's using that thing, and it is paying off. As his team now pushing forward with the Uber, taking a lot of ground immediately, just pressuring out anybody trying to get onto the heavy, but Kunu not going down yet, actually laying down a lot of damage here, taking down Kuna, and finally getting taken down, but the players are falling for Virtus. Mullah actually gets a saw as well, and Kars is the only player left alive. He might as well be dead considering he's not healing and getting chased by a scout, but he will escape. So ultimately, at least he lives, I suppose. nerdRage, a very, very good hold there, taking it back to second, and that full add to Boast as well, rolling into mid immediately. Obviously looking not to use it. Tobbs is going to have a word with that, though, trying to get onto Mullah here. Gets taken down before it becomes a huge danger.
Ooh,
and
nearly got piped there.
Yeah, no laser beam pipe connecting just about, but you do see those things flying near Mullah, and you get a little scared.
Yeah, you saw the little pop on the ground right next to his feet, so... Could have been another miracle for Kuna, but... DQZ was down trying to find something cheeky, but... Looks like it's just going to be the second capped up for nerdRage. They will forfeit their Uber advantage, another team having popped. As I said, that Kuna actually really far forward in river. I don't know what he was trying to do there, but he'll go down in that push. DQZ just spawning as well. This should be a push in from nerdRage.
Yeah, absolutely. They also have a huge advantage just with Kuna being gone. No sticks on the point. Losing Tobbs as well before the Ubers are even exchanged. Lancer also dangerously low, but 3 players going down for nerdRage. DQZ with a huge flank there, just taking everybody out.
Yeah, but Mulan never used on that last push.
True. But they still have that Uber to respond with, obviously, even if they have little to no players to use it on. DQZ is going to get taken down as the Uber comes out of Mullah. Going to be rolling it forward with Elikor, just trying to make something happen, and they're going to clean up Lancer, who's caught out as well, but ultimately not much to make up with that Uber. And they've effectively equalized with just a slight add here for side of Virtus, holding their last. The more trying to get onto the point, maybe just put down some cap time. 4 players in, living surprisingly long.
Yeah, but no stickies on the point just to get... Wait, what?
Pardon me?
Alright,
Kunu just runs through secret and caps the point.
Yeah.
Because apparently Virtus forgot that there's a point, or just decided, no, there's not going to be anybody else coming in, it's fine.
Yeah, it's so much sloppy play for Virtus.bro. I think we saw them have a really polished metalworks overall, but just not able to stand up to nerdRage on Gully. As we can see some high bumps coming in, maybe a highlight for Tubbs, but instead it's just getting mulched by Yeehaw. Kars finds Demul, but that's gonna be all that they find on this mid for Virtus.bro. This is very grim for them.
Oh yeah, Mist actually gets Elikor. He's dancing around. He's still not dead. Fighting two scouts. Finally, that Lancer comes in to try and avenge his brother in arms. Tries to get onto Mulan. Not gonna happen, unfortunately. And Kuna not gonna be cheeky either. So nerdRage hangs onto that mid by not quite as solidly as you would have expected, but you know they still managed to. And Lordy.
Yeah, it's a second for nerdRage, so we'll have to see. And Kars only on 30% as well, so it's going to be the full dis-ad still on this last push for nerdRage. You have to imagine. Tops could get caught here in River, but he actually managed to find Demul and escape the scout, so good job from him just to find a pick, but it's still going to be the push and with this override for nerdRage.
Comes in immediately, they send Yeehaw down through water.
Platform.
No, then unless they get unless they get players on the point there, they're not going to be able to hold the point. So much time because he's the only player. Yeah, okay, that's another one.
That is another one.
They took so long. They took so long to get like just any player onto that point to try and block that by the time they actually got players on, all nerdRage had to do was just clean them up one by one and cap out the point. So yeah, just nerdRage just rolling this momentum forward with 4 minutes left. They might just take a 5th round, actually a 6th round, which yeah, if you count that first round, that is. So they would actually just win by win difference. We'll have to see if they make that happen with Virtus try to hold on. Elikor's going to pick up Lancer early. The Mole's going to get Kuna. Mist also going down, as does DQZ, who only picks up Kunu. So immediately a very bad mid yet again for Virtus, with only Kars left alive.
Ooh, the Mole's trying to chase Kars, but yeah, he'll zoom his way out to last.
He's just going to try to get some cheeky arrows. You never know.
Yeah, the Mole did go down very low, so potential, but nothing found in the end.
So nerdRage actually not even capping mid up until now.
Yeah, I think we're in garbage time. I think that's what you would call this.
Potentially, they're just trying to have some fun, looking to go for some those frag clip worthy moments. Who knows? I don't think there's even any point in talking about it.
It's only Kuna alive now.
Everybody's dead again. It's just Kuna alive. He stands his ground though, kills Yeehaw, dies to Mola. They finally cap mid. Jesus.
We're all over the place. They have players on last, but second only just being kept. Yeah, I think this is over.
I mean, let's see if Virtus do anything with it. Obviously, nerdRage being a very ballsy here. Might just come back to bite him. Obviously, though, Virtus absolutely no chance of even winning the map now. So.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we've been sort of like bragging on Virtus.bro a bit in this map, and it has been very sloppy for them, but full credit to them for just taking the jump up to Prem this season and really just surprising absolutely everyone with their 5th place in the standings. Really just showing Voinicle, showing Beast Mode, saying like, hey, yeah, you can come up to Prem and we're keen, we're gonna do it. And they've really been surprising everyone, but Uber for nerdRage coming into this choke and just trying to clean it out in this last turn. Kunu finds Kuna, which is not confusing at all to say.
Absolutely not, no. I've been having trouble with that for the entire game. You know, we do have an Uber in response coming out of Virtus here after losing 2 players. They're going to clean up for themselves and just you know, round out some frags, get some numbers, and maybe put a round on the board. You never know. It could be a little bit of a motivation boost, even though losing this probably means that they're effectively completely out of the playoffs race.
Yeah.
You know.
I have to pull up the standings again, but I don't know how much having a golden cap loss or golden cap win on the first map for nerdRage will affect that. I will have to check that. I'm not very good at math or memory, so.
Interesting though. I do want to see it. I do want to see what.
And Elikor goes down to Lancer, so.
They're just
some consolation frags.
I think they're not really playing anymore. I almost have the feeling they're just like chilling, having fun, enjoying themselves.
I feel like I've been in a fever dream for the majority of this game, so.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, just Kars goes down somehow to Demul. I did not even see how that happened.
Mulan getting another saw kill.
is gonna go positive.
He might actually.
Medic DPM absolutely carrying.
It's interesting. I'm very confused, man.
Yeah,
This is what garbage time does to your brain.
yeah. This is your brain on TF2. Don't do it, lads. We're too far gone.
Oh lord. Well, let's just call it there. Let's talk about the actual game that we've just
Yeehaw's
witnessed.
clicking on gamers, I think.
Let's just have fun. Let's talk about the actual game then. Let's, logs should be available by now actually, so we can look at those already. There's no point in waiting for the last 30 seconds unless there's an insane air shot that somehow happens.
Ooh, nice huge headshot from DQZ. But goes down for it.
And they're camping the forward spawn. All right. This is pure achievement server now. It's my lord.
Trying to find logs. I'm a little dumb.
I believe I found them. At least the main ones that don't include the first round.
Oh yeah, we're actually gonna have to combine logs as well if we want that, because they did have the wrong config for the first round, keeping it over from Golden Cap. But finally it is over.
Let's just look at the second part then, considering that's
really
where most of everything happens.
The majority of it, and ooh, Mula, just shy of it. He almost went positive. 6 for 7, so...
You don't see that every day.
Yeah, 6 for 7, 33 DPM, just putting the team on his back.
Doing less damage than Cars, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Cars was doing to get 48 DPM with only 2 kills.
He's been arrowing like crazy, clearly.
Yeah, it's clearly just the carries of their team putting out so much damage, but in reality it was Kunu topping the charts. Mist doing a good job breaking 300 with him, but also Josh, Elacord, well, obviously got a lot of garbage time, so I don't know how much that necessarily played into it.
Yeah.
You know, only so much that you can do about that. And
these logs just tell
so
tell
in the end
story.
we were just watching Medic's frag.
The logs really just tell the story of how that second map went, I think. There's not much to glean from it overall. It's just, you can tell nerdRage just way more dominant on the map overall compared to what we saw on Metalworks. So, overall...
Yeah. I mean, the very start, it was very close, but just the crumble of it from Virtus.bro. But, you know, credit to them where it's due. They put up a fight. That first map was so close, but you gotta think that losing in that golden cap is so demoralizing. It's like 2 seconds left on the clock, and then just capitulating after that. So, you know, valiant attempt, but it will be nerdRage with the majority of the points. We'll get a golden cap win as well.
And we do have a single interviewee that wants to tell us about the game. We have Yeehaw joining us. How's it going, bud? Congratulations on your victory, of course. Yep. How's that game? How'd that game go for you guys? Especially, I mean, obviously the second map you guys were far more dominant, but what about Metalworks? Because that was obviously rather even, at least for the first like for 25 minutes.
I mean, we won. Don't care.
That's what matters, I guess.
You're really gonna do me like this, Yeehaw? But,
maybe you need better questions.
Yeah.
You have anything to ask, Ire? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's not really much to say after what we just witnessed on that last map. What were the comms like after that that golden cap getting secured, like 2 seconds left on the point?
Well, there was a lot of nice and a lot of good job, guys. And that was it.
I think the main difference between this and NA is if it was NA, we'd probably be seeing someone saying some sort of slur, but...
I can do it right now if you want. I can give you that experience.
Let's not. This is an RGL
really?
Highlander.
Like, it's fine, honestly.
Yeah, I think
like
we're good. We're good. Nah.
This is a Christian stream. Okay. Keep it PG.
Christian stream.
Well, if it was Christian, there'd be more slurs.
God damn it.
He's got a point, but also, okay, fair enough. But yeah, naturally, congratulations. You guys played very well and interesting as well. You now basically took the shot away from Virtus, but you guys still have a shot at playoffs now. So you looking forward to that?
I think it's
You
locked
reckon?
in if we get 6 points against GageL. And GageL don't have any points this whole season, so I mean, we're probably in playoffs.
All right. I mean, I guess, yeah. I haven't quite looked at the fixtures or the tables just yet, so I don't know what the exact implications are going to be. I guess Feint has already played all their games, so yeah. If you guys win next week, which naturally is very likely, you might actually have it locked in, so...
Feint still learning to play Swift, but Swift is going to win that, so...
Alright,
yeah,
well,
that's true.
You guys looking forward to that then? Obviously, like probably just have eyes focus on that now, I'd assume.
Yeah. I mean, feel pretty good about our chances, not gonna lie.
Right, alright.
And then we just gotta do the Undertaker, fucking take them all out one by one, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
Work our way up the ladder, WWE. I've never watched that. I've never played any of those games, I'm not gonna lie.
Actually, I've been curious. How has it been transitioning from Shock to Mullah here? He's been on the team a couple of weeks at this point, but seemingly doing very well for himself.
Well, it's pretty good. Sometimes all our French players will talk French, and I hear my name being dropped, but like I don't understand it. Sacre bleu, you putain. But I don't know what that means, so I assume it's just good. But it's been fine. He's got sick arrows, He's got 1,000 hours past 2 weeks, so that's all we need.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah, keen enough, I suppose. I think that's gonna be it from us here. Any shoutouts you want to give, Mr. Yeehaw?
No.
All right. Nice and easy.
Well, yeah, hate to see it.
All right then.
I don't want to waste anyone's time.
That's fair, absolutely fair. Let's just quickly call it then. Let's not even waste time talking. Obviously, thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to you guys for putting on a great game. It's been fun to cast and all that stuff. And yeah, we'll be seeing you again soon enough.